Good evening everyone and welcome along to TTML F1. We are here for Season 7, it is round number 9 of the Championship as we're taking the Japanese Grand Prix from, of course, the Suzuka International Circuit. My name is James Hay, good to be taking you through the stream as always on a Sunday night, and joining me in the commentary box is Mr. Pepsi Freak. Pepsi, how you doing?
I'm doing well here tonight, and Japan, Suzuka, one of my favorite circuits in this game, so this is definitely going to be a treat to watch, and I think it will be quite enjoyable to see around the circuit. The only thing that may bring a feather in your cap, James, is it may rain, because Suzuka is known for its rain, and if it does, we may hear a loud, audible sigh for you.
We will have an all laudable sound for me, definitely a sigh out on track as well if it does obviously rain, because I hate the rain around here, and if it is going to rain, it's going to be more like typhoon weather rather than the actual heavy rain that we normally get over here in the UK and certainly in America as well. To remind you, of course, what happened in last week in Imola, Jensen took the win, Noah second, Lynx in third, very good podiums by all, and all British 1, 2, 3 as well, and that was actually Jensen's final race under Shizou in TTML. He has since left in midweek from Shizou. Not sure where his stature might lie in terms of the next team, but Jensen has left Shizou. But that doesn't mean he's left the TTML Championship. He, of course, leads coming into tonight. The point gap is 34 points coming into tonight. Jensen leading the way on 185 points. Tom in second along with Lynx, both tied on 151 points. Rudy there in fourth on 133. Fleddy in fifth on 101. And MedTC in sixth on 100. He got knocked down in position because of a 5-second penalty for collision with, I think it was Chalkers if I'm not mistaken, and that's why he lost down into 5th position. Dara got promoted to 4th. Cosbury in 7th on 88, Black Box in 8th on 67, Funky Chicken in 9th on 61, and Aries ran off the top 10 on 58 points. Then to Ewan, Zoidamer, Boss Wanted, Grosso, Steph, Hyper, Chalkers, Noah, Christie and Khan, who was still in the top 20 right down at the bottom end of the field. But Jensen obviously leading the way, 34 points, more than a race win's advantage compared to Tom, who was chasing them down. And Jensen last week obviously fell by the wayside. Tom DNF'd, of course, in dramatic fashion out of Piratella. Lynx picked up a podium. He's now tied on points with Tom. Jensen's got pretty much a race lead to lose now.
I think personally right now, looking at the standings, it's probably a 3-horse race. Rudy with an outside chance, maybe making it a 4-horse race with 4 rounds to go before the North American swing at the calendar, excluding the Italian race. But I think it's going to be quite interesting run. I think the one other thing kind of worth noting, and maybe you can fill the viewers in on this one, because you did bring up Grosso in the standings. Grosso obviously no longer going to be here for reasons brought up through other methods. But I know there were talks of his points maybe getting distributed to other drivers. Did that actually go through? Or is that still kind of up in the air?
Judging by that, it looks like he's still in the standings. We had a discussion certainly after the race saying that there was going to be removed and he was going to be disqualified from the championship. So I'm not sure if that's actually gone through yet. If it doesn't, though, probably be updated for next week. Grosso there in 14th position. That will mean, basically, all of his points will be taken, so 52 points will be distributed out. So those standings we've read out so far might not be actually accurate in terms of that, but it all depends, of course, if we do reach an agreement on that. Red Bull, by the way, leading the championship as we are getting in towards qualifying. Red Bull leading the championship in the Constructors, 285 points. McLaren in second on 252. AlphaTauri in third on 203. The Mercedes in fourth on 194. Haas in fifth on 118. Alfa Romeo in sixth on 75. Aston Martin seventh on 57. Ferrari in eighth on 28. And Alpine in ninth on 25. And Williams in 10th on 23 points. And Pepsi obviously looking at the Constructor standings there. Red Bull, 33-point gap over McLaren, so a very similar gap. However, it seems like one driver is doing the business for both teams at the minute.
Yeah, it seems like it's 2 drivers kind of just leading each other's charges, and you kind of can see in the standings. And it's really just going to come down to, personally, in my opinion, it's the rear gunner, MedTC and the other one. And for McLaren, it's going to be kind of a fight for them, and whoever can kind of outscore the other one is going to be the driver that helps win the constructor. Similar, I guess, in real life last season with Bottas and Perez. It's not going to be maybe Verstappen Hamilton, it's going to be Bottas Perez, or in that example, it's not going to be Lynx and Jensen, it's going to be MedTC and Fletty fighting for who takes the constructors overall.
Yeah, definitely so. Kermit, by the way, has just informed me they won't be, buddy. It's just a disqualification from the standings, so the points is not going to get redistributed out to other drivers, of course, within the standings. So the point standings are very accurate indeed, and that means Jensen,
Okay.
of course, holds that 34-point gap coming into tonight. Big thank you to Kermit, by the way, for messaging me privately on that massive. First cars are leaving out on track, though, and Jensen is one of the first out on track. He's not the first out on track, though, because it's Chalkers, the new ERT man, out on tracks. He already catches the curb through turn number 3, and that's one thing to already come on to, because this track, with trials and tribulations galore, it's 5.8 kilometers an hour, 3.6 miles, a figure of 8 circuit, but these curbs are so dodgy around this track. It is going to take real balls of steel, basically, to actually try and hook up a lap around here, even in qualifying.
Yeah, I do stand on that point. I still stand on it, is that the S section, is the best way to describe it, is you just got to hit it perfect. If you don't hit it perfect consistently, you're going to go for a spin, or you're going to have to cough up a lot of time to keep the car straight. And it's kind of walking on the tightrope of the razor's edge, and that's what I kind of like about it, because it separates the men from the boys, or the females from the girl, or the ladies from the girls, if we want to use the other terminology there. And it's just something where it's a treat to watch if you pull it right, because if you do the lap correctly and get a pole run, unlike other circuits where it feels like you did good, but maybe a little bit on the easier side here, you got to do it right, like Monaco. And if you do it all correctly and get the pole run, there's really no debate that you deserve that pole position.
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously, drivers currently, certainly seems like Jensen and Chalkers around instead of medium compound tyres. Not sure if everyone else is. I didn't have a flick through there, but Chalkers is coming around the final corner through the Casio Triangle and on the run towards the line. Nearly 200 miles an hour. You can get up in towards turn number 1, which is, of course, the right-hander, where, of course, Senna and Prost famously went at it, of course, in real life in 1990, of course, that famous battle between them both. The championship came down to an absolute T. Chalkers getting through turn 3 and turn 4, and as what Pepsi said about a minute ago, I think he didn't get the S section right there, to be honest. Through 5 and 6, and then through the left-hander of the Dunlop curve through turn number 7. It is, however, going to be a very dry qualifying session, it seems. 33.1 through the first sector. We should be seeing sub-32s through the first sector, I think, as we get towards the end of the session. Chalkers on the run up the hill, though, in towards the hairpin, of course, at turn number 10 this is, or turn number 11 even, and then, of course, through where the MotoGP layout used to be. That's the chicane for the MotoGP layout on the right-hand side. On the run now towards Spoon Curve at turn 13 and 14, so we should see what Chalkers is going to be setting in this middle sector. It hasn't looked like the greatest lap in the history of TTML for Chalkers at the minute, as he catches the curve again, coming through turn 14, catches the slide out of 14. Jensen's already catching on his lap, so you can tell Jensen's going to be so much quicker than Chalkers on this lap. Chalkers through the middle sector to 13.6. Jensen, I think, for reference, is probably about 2 seconds quicker than that through the middle sector, but Chalkers is coming down towards the Casio Triangle. There should be a 130, I think, to begin off the night from Chalkers. Ran the final corner, running towards the line. I think it is going to be 130. It's a 130.5 to start off the night, but Jensen now running to the line, and that is 2 seconds quicker. Jensen out on top, 28.6, and that, to be honest, on a set of mediums, is a stonking lap.
Yeah, it is a very impressive lap there, as we just saw Zoidem, who was on a set of softs there, put down a 1:29.377. So it does show that lap is pretty strong on a set of mediums, and is going to take a little bit of a challenge to beat. Here comes Dragon Smith, who's actually starting an out lap right now. Seeing who else we got through the field, we got Lynx coming through the last couple sections. I think Rudy as well. Actually, that is Funky Chicken coming through the last couple corners. He's on a set of mediums as well. So we'll see if anyone else can kind of get close to Jensen's 1:28.673. Here we got Chicken, and he'll go P2 with a 1:29.253. Then we got Lynx on behind him. He'll go P2 now with a 1:28.79 on a set of softs, no less. Couldn't beat Jensen's time. And then we got the Haas of Carlsby as well, Aston Martin, and another McLaren finishing up here. We'll see if anyone else can make a run for it. Lynx goes 2. Fletty goes 3rd on a set of softs there. Mediums. And that really is that for the first major runners here. And kind of shocking, Jensen on his mediums is still pole position.
Just comes to show, though, how quick he is around this track. Jensen a 10th clear of Lynx through the early part of qualifying. I'm moving 5 minutes in. Jensen's out on top, Lynx in second, Fleddy in third. Lynx, by the way, of course, has moved from IFR. IFR, of course, completing, as he's just invalidated through the first sector. IFR, of course, completed their last event on Friday, which I, of course, had the privilege to cover. And that means the majority of the drivers, like Fleddy, who, of course, has gone to TTG, Lynx has also gone now to Talent Factory. Talent Factory, a really, really good team, I've got to say. highly rate them. And Lynx, I think, is a very astute signing that for that team. Currently in second, of course, 128.7. Jensen, though, out on top. Lynx in second. Fleddy there in third. Of course, let us know where you're watching from, of course, in the world, in the comment section. Let us know, of course, your top three. Dara goes quickest.
Yeah.
Good lap time from him, and Rudy just comes in and absolutely spoils the party. 28.2 from Rudy, 28.5 from Darren. To put that into perspective, Rudy, purple final sector there, was 3/10 quicker on that lap than Dara, 4/10 quicker than Jensen, but I say around this track it's going to be anywhere between 8/10 to a second in terms of improvement. Jensen should be comfortably mid-127s.
Yep, and remember, we've got Tom as well, who's looking for redemption after what happened last week. He's going to be a driver to watch for as well. But, yeah, Jensen just set up for a set of softs right now, so he will not be starting this race on a set of mediums, and he is going for the pole run. One more thing to point out with the name change now, MedTC goes 128.550 there. He'll be P2 and splits both the Mercedes and the Aston Martin. But I just want to say as well, remember, also FR Noah now has a name change as well, and he is now with the FRR boys. So another driver that was hit the open market and is now with another team as well. So you do love to see some talented drivers find new homes, and sadly the closure kind of affects some drivers, but they'll bounce back and usually find some good teams to take them in and help out in their operations. But other than that, kind of looking to see who else is around here. Carlos B just invalidated, so his run's not important. Steph's slowing down as well. We've got Daniel and Tom. Tom for the first sector right now. Daniel just near the end of it. So we'll see if either driver can maybe make a challenge to Rudy's 128.275.
Yeah, I'm on board with Tom coming through the S section of turn 5 and then turn 6. Daniel should be going towards the end of the first sector. 35 flat, I think he's backed off that lap coming through the first sector. Ran into the gravel because there's tyre marks coming out the gravel there to Dunlop curve. Tom, though, 32 flat, exactly where you want to be. Is he just invalidated coming through Degner 1? Absolutely typical, and that just comes to show how difficult it is to actually get a lap in around here. But I totally echo your sentiments around Noah, of course. Noah, former IFR driver, as I alluded to last week, now part for FER. If you're wondering who FER actually are, Formula Campeonato, if I've pronounced that right. FER, of course, being the Spanish team. Noah again, really good signing. I believe he's one of the lower drivers actually in FER, but in terms of a new sign, I think they've got a really good driver on the look as well. Daniel, by the way, in the middle sector's 118.5. This is not a comparative lap at all from Daniel. Another wonder, because he hasn't even used his ERS on this lap, so I think he's preparing for maybe a banker, then a push lap, and of course, you can set multiple times on your tyres, with MedTC obviously proving that. He's second, currently with a 28.5. Daniel, though, I think he'll go around Funky Chicken Fleddy sort of area, 6th position.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair estimation. 6th, 7th, right around there. That's probably going to be a strong indicator for his pace, and we'll see where he can kind of slot it in. On that, though, just
he spun.
Really... Oh, he spun. Well, that's a bit of a kick in the teeth, but hey, he's still got plenty of time left, 9 minutes to go to kind of get it back, but always spinning kind of affects your confidence. It's something I've kind of realized, is with that S section, if you make a mistake, you take it more conservative the next time you go through it, and it costs you time. So it kind of reminds me of, I know we're in the month of May actually starting tomorrow, and I know it's a different series, but the Indy 500, it's a situation where you got to be flat to the corners, and if you make a mistake, it may cause you to start lifting. And it kind of reminds me of the same situation here with the S section, is that you make one mistake, you end up spinning it around, you're going to kind of be a little more cautious, but that's going to cost you time. It could really affect any chance of you putting down a competitive time. So you got to kind of just admit that you made a mistake and not let it lift up on your foot.
Jensen's nearly 3/10 up through the first sector already. Really, really good. 32 flat through the first sector. I'll correct you, by the way, on what you've just said. Gets caught in the grass coming through turn 10 and into the gravel through 11. That's a very weird one. I have to go back and watch that. It's just literally cut off on my stream, that part. But Jensen obviously made a mistake. He took too much grass on the right-hand side, coming out of the little kink of turn 10 into the braking zone of turn 11. So Jensen, not on a lap, looked good through the first sector, but you have to hook up a lap around everywhere.
Honestly, it kind of looked like, from the perspective I was looking at, he didn't even clip the grass. It kind of looked like he was squirrely coming off that corner, and then maybe I got a late angle at it, and he just kind of just made a mistake, went too deep into the hairpin there. But you probably got a better angle than I did, so I'll defer to you on that one. But still, just a bit of a mistake. But yeah, you got to be consistently good in order to put down a competitive pole run.
I was going to correct you on something, by the way. It's May now, by the way.
Oh yeah, it is technically now May 1st. Yeah. Yeah, technically it is, yeah. My calendar must be still set on Saturday, because that was the last day of April. So, yeah, now we're in the month of May. So make sure you watch the 500. It's good for you. As now Noah goes 0-127-9-7-2. He has put Rudy's time and put a smack on it, but Rudy is going to be setting another lap here now. So we'll see if Rudy can catch the FBR man. Other than that, though, big spin by Dargan Smith there. I think he's in the S section. No, just off the S section there in Dunlop curb. So, yeah. Bit of a spin there, spin like a top, and the sun is now starting to come out, so the track is going to get a bit more grippy.
Yeah, Ewan's just invalidated the run and ball with him through the middle sector on the exit of Spoon Curve. He's just invalidated. Rudy, as you said, is on that lap, so we'll pick on ball with him now. He's coming to the S section, famously where, of course, I saw Schiaparelli go around the outside of 3 drivers. Yes, 3 drivers through that section. Are you serious in Rudy's first sector? 31.8 in the first sector? Oh my god, that is absolutely electric through the first sector. Rudy has to try and keep this up, though, throughout this lap, because he got sideways out of Sector 2. Now on the run, of course, in towards that Spoon Curve at turn 13, but Noah out on top, Rudy second, Matty C in third. To be dishonest to Noah, I didn't even see he was on a lap, so apologies to Noah, but a 27.9, clearly a time to beat here. Rudy is now aiming at that time. He's coming out of Spoon Curve through 14, nicely negotiated out of Spoon Curve, and now on the run up the hill in towards 130, of course the fastest part of the track, and Rudy through the middle sector, 111.4, he's 3/10 up, and at the minute it's about 1,000th quicker than Noah. He is going theoretically quicker at this stage. He has to get the Casio Triangle right, though, coming out of the final corners through turn 18. Jensen now goes quickest. I think Rudy might try and beat him, though, to the line. 27.9, he goes second, but very close in qualifying. Jensen out on top, Rudy in second, Noah in third. Rudy in the end, full 700 short of Jensen, who, again, I didn't know he was on a lap.
Yeah, Jensen, yeah, I kind of was watching Rudy's time as well there. As we got a big yellow flag up the circuit here. Looks like it's green now. As Jensen, something worth noting first.
Tom is absolutely flying through the middle sector to 111.2 combined in the middle sector. He's going 2-3 quicker maybe than Jensen here. Jensen is going to be in danger. Tom to the line, 27.6. And how do you like them apples? Tom out on top, Jensen second, Rudy in third. The Shazoo man outdoing the former Shazoo man here in qualifying so far with around 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because Rudy was beating Noah's pace, but then Jensen raised the bar and Rudy didn't make it, and then Tom raised the bar even more. So now everyone's chasing Tom instead of Jensen, and just how things can change within a minute and a half. But one thing worth noting right now is Metzi is currently 5th. He just went 2 tenths faster, but still currently 5th. You got Jensen in 2nd, but the 2 drivers that were kind of interesting to note, Lynx and Fletty. Lynx currently 3rd in the constructors, Fletty in the constructors in 2nd, but Lynx in 2nd and 3rd in the drivers, tied with Tom. They're currently 8th and 9th, and we remember from the interviews last week with Lynx that he wasn't the strongest in Japan in his accordance. He was relatively okay, but he didn't feel the most confidence around here. But even being 8th and 9th, that is really going to take a damper on their constructors, but it kind of been the year so far with Lynx and Fletty, they kind of picked up the pieces when mistakes have been made, rather than being kind of the front dominant chargers.
Yeah, definitely so, and to be honest, obviously Tom leading the way, he's nearly 2 tenths cleaner than Jensen, but it's always the same guys towards the top end of the field at this moment in time, the people getting off the grass on the right-hand side. Cosby's coming through 130R, great avoidance there by the Red Bull. I think that might have been Med-TC coming through there, that was brilliant, but Cosby now coming through the final couple of corners, he's normally one, that's good in qualifying. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near though, that's disappointing, 29 flat, he's normally a lot quicker than this in qualifying. Maybe the race will actually improve. Hyper, by the way, goes 8th as well. But yeah, Lynx and Fletty. Lynx wasn't too happy, I think, going into this week, of course, in Japan. I think he put some practice in for tonight. 28.7, though. Look at the gap, though, between Noah and Med-TC. You've basically got the top 4 covered by 3 tenths per second. Then everyone else is covered by pretty much a washing line, I think.
Very, very close for it. Just a little bit of a mistake there, and you could gain more time or less. Also, one thing worth noting is Fletty is actually on a set of mediums. So, if things hold right now, he'll start on a set of mediums. Everyone's ahead of him will start on a set of softs, unless someone like Staff, Carlsby, Chicken, Ewan, Chalkers, Daniels bumps him outside the top 10. So, it's kind of interesting that maybe he's trying to bank on that. Maybe try a different strategy on the outrun here, because this is going to be the last game you can do it in, so might as well take advantage of it when you can. Other than that, though, in the top 7, only 2 drivers on outlaps, Noah and Dragon, and they both are not near completing lap. Hyper currently going through Sector 2 right now, but It looks like he's backing down his run behind Noah, so that lap's going to be competitive. Carlos B's invalidated, and Ewan has just started a lap in the first sector on a set of softs, so maybe somebody to keep an eye out for, because we know Ewan went, I think, 6th or 7th last week in whatever track we were at.
Imola.
Imola. Yep. Imola. It was Imola. You are correct. Blanked. I was thinking Italy. I'm like, it wasn't Mazda. I'm like, oh yeah, Imola was the one in question. But yeah, so Ewan coming through Sector 1 right now, 2/10 of his time. Doesn't really look, and he just validated. So, bit of a commentator's curse there. But with 2 minutes to go, a lot of drivers making a run for the exit. But yet Tom still in the pit lane.
Tom is still in the pit lane. Noah, though, was about to go on to lap. And actually, Tom has retired in the pit lane. So Tom has retired in the pit lane. I think that's
Feels
in the
confident.
pit lane. There is a yellow flag. Yeah, the yellow flag just came out. So, Tom, clearly happy with that 27.6. Clearly feels that's not going to be beaten. Let's see what Noah can do, though. Coming through the SNRSs of Turn 3 and Turn 4. Already butchered his lap already. Catching the curve through Turn 3 and then through the left-hander of Turn 5. Through the right-hander of Turn 6 and then in towards the Dunlop curve. There's Ferrari yellow flag in the middle sector. I think that's Chalkers on an outlap. Noah's all over the shop coming out of Dunlop curve. That is his lap time. Absolutely and utterly done for. And he backs out the lap. And I think he had to back out the lap because he was just making too many mistakes. And all of that basically spawned from, as Hyper was also retired in the pit lane, all that basically spawned from that little mistake coming out of Turn 3. Knocks your confidence throughout the race. And Noah in qualifying, that confidence completely knocked the stuffing out of his lap.
Oh, there goes Lynx. Lynx as well made a mistake in the Dunlop corner. Shades have we seen so far today. He'll be pulling it out. He's got enough time. He can get around again, but that was a competitive run for him right there. And he will have to actually with a mid-20. I don't think he'll even make it back around. So that is probably curtains on Lynx. Fletty started a run as well. I think Noah can successfully get one more attempt at it. Jensen going near 180R right now, so he'd be something to keep an eye out for. Just seeing who's on a run. Doggett Smith's slow. He's not competitive. Zoidema just started a run. Really, Ewan through the Dunlop corner. Yeah, most people are currently in the first or second sector, so, and about to start out lap, so we're going to have a big smorgasbord of names to commentate in about 20 seconds' time.
Another mistake as well. Fleddy coming through turn number 5 got caught in the curb. I think he's still going though on this lap. He's coming to the end of the first sector now. And even with that mistake, he's 3/10 up in the first sector.
Remember,
even with that
mistake. He did qualify on a set of mediums. He did qualify on a set of mediums. So
yeah, he did.
That should
be
a little bit faster.
Another wonder, 28.9 on that set of medium compound size at the minute, but Fleddy obviously is going to be looking to go maybe around Noah, Med TC, that sort of area, go ahead of the Red Bull driver, and I think he's going to be having a very good qualifying session. Noah's crash coming through the center S's though, through 3 and 4, so Noah already out of the session. The Aston Martin is already round as well. I think that's Steph, who has just finished a lap on a 29 flat, but Fleddy on the run up the hill in toward 130R. We should be looking around a 111.2 in this middle sector. And he's a little bit off that, 11.7 through the middle sector. He's going to be improving probably around 8/10 per second when he gets to the end of his lap. Jensen and Rudy, by the way, also on lap. Steph has retired out of the qualifying session. That's coming through turn 3. Might have overheated the tyres slightly. Ewan has also retired as well. Fleddy to the line though, goes 6th, and he's behind Med TC. Behind Med TC, who's off, coming through the first sector as well, coming through Dunlop curve. Rudy's improving by 600th, Jensen improving by 900ths of a second. I'll compare Rudy's lap time to Jensen's very shortly. Oh, and Rudy's set for spin. That is a very weird one. Coming through, just totally butchered his lap. He's in the wall as well. Jensen's coming through the final corners. It looks like he can only go quickest ahead of Tom. Not sure what his middle sector was like, but now the Red Bull coming around the final corner. I think he's going to go quickest to the line. He doesn't. 300th improvement, but barely improves. Anybody else on a lap? Davers on a lap. He's 2/10 up, coming through the middle sector.
Lynx is 1/10 up on his run, but that's on a set of soft, so it's probably going to be slightly higher. I think Doggett Smith's the only real major driver. Daniel as well about to cross the line. P's 8 for him, so the Alfa Romeo driver goes faster. Other than that, it's really Doggett Smith against the world here. I don't think he can beat Tom's time. I think Tom, once he realized he had a 6, was like, I'm done for the day.
Easy.
That was a pretty competitive time. Ooh, we do got someone jumping up there. I saw a name flash up there. But other than that, we got Doggett Smith in the last couple corners going through the Castillo Triangle. Can he put down somewhat competitive? Can he get himself further up into the top 10 here? Gets a little squirrely off exit, and it's going to be a 128.227, and that's going to be a P5. And honestly, if he didn't get a little squirrely off exit, he probably could have maybe, he probably wouldn't have got Noah, but he could have got closer to Noah.
Yeah, it probably would have eked out another tenth of a second maybe at the final corner, if that. But Tom out on top, Jensen second, Rudy in third. And Tom, that lap time, 27.6, very, very good. I said around the mid-127s, and we've exactly got to that point, mid-127.6 that is from Tom. Jensen there in second, Rudy there in third. But Tom, that is retribution for that speed, because he spun from, obviously, the lead of the race in Imola, out of Piratella, and he will be absolutely, that'll be on the back of his mind, but that's probably now completely distant memory. Tom now on top, and we'll run you through the final grid order in just a second, when of course we load back in to the grid order, and hopefully I can give it to you on my end, which I can, and it's Tom out on top, the Shazoo Man from the former Shazoo Man in second, Jensen, Rudy there in third, from Noah in fourth, Dara in fifth, Matey C in sixth, Fleddy in seventh, Zoidema in eighth, Lynx in ninth, Daniel round off the top 10, top 10 are covered by 8/10 per second, then a Typer, Funky Chicken, Steph, Ewan and Carlsbury round off the top 15. Chalker's also getting a left arm in there, down in 16th position. But Tom out on top, Jensen second, Rudy in third, and I think that sets us up for a really, really good race, because it looks like the top four, same top four from last week, class above the field in qualifying.
Yeah, they've been pretty strong there. I think there's some notes, maybe Doggett Smith, Menti C, Fleddy, they could be kind of shocked if the top four get a little bit scrappy, so maybe worth a little bit interesting to note. But yeah, I think one other thing kind of worth noting, though, is we don't want to talk standings too much here yet, because obviously still a race to go, but it kind of reminds me of shades of 2016, where right now, Tom is the Hamilton and Jensen is the Rosberg, and as long as Jensen can kind of just stay behind Tom, he'll have enough points to bring it home. So he has to be cautious, but not too overexertive, because he doesn't want a situation like Australia where he ends up wrong way around and throws away a max point race. So Jensen is obviously not going to take his foot off the gas, but doesn't have to be overly aggressive to make sure he wins this race. And it's a nice sunny day here in Japan. No rain, which is a bit of a boo earned for myself, but if every race was rain, it wouldn't be special.
Yeah, if anything would be rain, then it wouldn't be special. But of course, it is a beautiful blue sky Japanese Grand Prix. That's exactly what we want to see. And of course, I mentioned it in qualifying. We came here in 1994 in a championship battle. Of course, it was Ayrton Senna and who is it? No, 1990 odd. It was Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. There we go. I was going to say Nico Prost there, but that's his son. But Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, obviously, in that brilliant, brilliant fight in the 1990s around here in Japan. And of course, today marks the 28th anniversary since we lost Ayrton Senna, of course. An absolute legendary driver and a gentleman to the Formula One paddock. He will be sorely be missed by all. And of course, everyone, I'm sure, in this grid will want to send our heartfelt condolences and our thoughts, of course, to Ayrton Senna and his family at what obviously is 28 years since his passing, arguably the greatest F1 driver of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a shame of what happened, and yeah, shame. Prayers out to his family and friends as well, and yeah, truly missed, along with Rosenberg as well.
And Bianchi, of course. Well, not losing his life around here, but sadly, pretty much with that incident that he had, of course, in 2014, we have to remember him as well. But the formation lap is now beginning here in Japan, and it looks like, judging by the tyre strategies, we're going to get a very dry race. The top 10, of course, qualified on that set of soft compound tyres. Everyone else on a set of mediums. No pulling punches. Easy one-stop strategy either way.
Yeah, no real changes here, no real strategy. It's just softs, mediums, or mediums to softs, and that's pretty much all she wrote here. Unless a safety car comes out, you may see maybe an alternate call if it comes out early around lap 3. Maybe a soft runner goes maybe for a hard, so they really try to push it, but time loss would be probably too great. But yeah, really clear, cut, and dry, as they would say.
Clear cut and dry. Tom obviously out on top, Jensen alongside him. Tom is going to be starting on the other side of the grid, the left-hand side of the grid. Jensen, on the other hand, is going to be starting on the right-hand side of the grid. He's going to have the run, basically, down in towards turn 1 on the inside line. So, I'm not even going to pull any punches here. Are we perhaps going to see, I do not want to see this either, but potentially, if they're side by side towards turn number 1, are we going to get something like a Senna and Prost scenario?
Honestly, it could happen, but I think there's strong enough drivers that it wouldn't happen. They're pretty strong, so I don't think they would intentionally do that or make the mistake like that, unless someone really, like Rudy sends it 3 wide. But other than that, but obviously part of the spare side of me wants to see it happen, just for the chaos. But I don't think it will happen. I think they're very talented drivers, and they will make sure that doesn't happen. They go side to side through 1 with no incident happening, if anything.
Yeah, I think what we will see, though, is one of them obviously getting the better start than the other off the line. I think it'll be Tom that'll probably get the better start. In the second phase, he's normally quite quick off the line. Jensen, first start, normally quite quick there, so they might even out on the run down in towards turn number 1. We have to wait and see, of course, this 200-metre run down towards turn number 1. But, as the camera angle doesn't allude me to, the final cars are now rejoining on the grid. Pepsi, who was your top 3?
Let's go Tom, we'll go Jensen, and then we'll throw a wild card in there. Let's go Dargan Smith.
Interesting. Of course, finished 4th last week in Imola because of MedTC's penalty. The final cars are rejoining, though, on the back of the grid. The camera angle from P1 is awful, so I'm going to go on board with Jensen for the start. But Jensen will have that inside run in towards turn number 1. The 5 red lights are now coming on here in Japan. It is round number 9 of the championship here in TTML F1, and it is... Lights down the way we go, and Tom has already got the really good launch coming down in towards turn 1, and he is going to pull into the lead of the race. Coming through turn number 1 and 2. Rudy's right on the back of Jensen. Coming through turn 1, it's 3 wide on the back when the 2 McLarens need making contact there. Zordan was going through the middle of them, and I think he's actually got both of them done. He's run the outside of turn number 3, Zordan, and he gets the job done, surely. And there's contact between them both. Contact between them both. Lynx went in too quick, I think. He spun himself, and Zordimer also has kept that out the wall. I think Lynx hasn't managed that to do, and his right side end plate damage possibly on the car. Both of them caught into a bit of contact. They basically got caught in each other, and there was nowhere to go for either of them there. Tom out on top, Jensen second, Rudy in third. Apart from that little bit of contact there from Zordimer and Lynx, obviously that will get looked into by the stewards, but seems to me that Lynx took too much speed, and Zordimer was thrown offline slightly, so I think that might go down as racing incident. Both of them might come in to speculate for fresher tyres, but Tom out on top, Jensen second, Rudy in third, and Tom's already putting out a slipstream wrench to Jensen.
Yeah, the angle I got there, it was pretty much a racing incident. Like, the driver really made a mistake. It was just 2 drivers fighting over one piece of real estate, and it happens in this day and age. So, bit of a shame of an incident, but both drivers, if safety car comes out, they'll be right back in this thing and ready to fight. But that's definitely going to put a damper on Lynx's championship run here, and he's going to need some help to get back in it. But yeah, Tom pulling away, 6 attempts clear. Other than that, though, Rudy was a little bit aggressive off 1. Thought about making a move on Jensen, but obviously he thought better of it. Didn't want to put Jensen in the wall. But yeah, Tom looks right now kind of a different class here. But obviously, as the tires wear down, maybe Jensen, we know, is good at conserving his stuff, could easily bring him back in. But right now, Tom, bit of a masterclass here. We got Hyper making a move on Daniel farther back, though. He's going to take the inside line, going to get the toe on the wheel, he's going to hang the inside, but going to back it down and going to let Daniel... Well, Daniel's going to go a little bit slow around the outside. That's going to be still side by side. And you don't want to go side by side through the S's here, so one's going to have to probably lift to save the other one. And it looks like Hyper going to make the move on Daniel, so Hyper keeps his nose in it and successfully keeps 8th, puts Daniel down to 9th, and Daniel going to have to rally to get back in the spot.
That's exactly what we could have seen from Zordimer and Lynx last lap around. Exactly the carbon copy. Hyper around the outside. Zordimer, in turn, was around the outside there, obviously, on Lynx. They both made contact. Hyper, though, there was a hat-width gap up the inside. Got the move done on the outside line. And a beautiful move there. He's thrown, he's into 8th, and the mediums are already coming into play. Funky Chicken slightly on the back of Carlsbury. Gets a little bit tap for toe there with Chalkers in behind. Zordimer is catching back up to the queue. He's 4 seconds behind at this moment in time. But Tom leads the way. Jensen second. Rudy in third, and Thomas nearly second clear of Jensen, pulling away effortlessly, I think, so far out on track. He has broken nearly the DRS out on track. Funky Chicken, though, on the back of Carlsbury, coming out of Spoon Curve. Looks like potentially the next move is Carlsbury got very sideways coming out of Spoon Curve. And now, the Chicken on the back of the Finn. And the Finn, of course, you could call the Flying Fish Finn, I don't know. Carlsbury there in 12th, Chicken there in 13th, and Chicken right on the back of Carlsbury. I try to look for a bit of an animal pun in there, but there's something there at least.
Just call him a filet-o-fish. That would work perfectly. But anyway, yeah, Tom right away is still leading the way. Not going to break DRS this time by big DRS train from first all the way back to 14th. But obviously, I think, yeah, Floody may lose touch Dargan Smith there. But, yeah, bit of a train forming right now between 2 packs, the haves and the have-nots, as you could say. As Chicken getting a little bit antsy behind Carlsby there, but no really to make any sort of move here. He's going to have to tuck back. And Lido spin around, that's the Haas of Hyper, and he's going to cause a little bit of a Constantino effect there for Daniel and the rest, luckily thinking ghosting is on, or else that may have ended a couple races right there.
Yep, Hyper round, coming through the S section, clearly got caught in the curb, I think, coming through turn number 4, so Hyper now behind Zordimer, and this will turn into a war of attrition. That is absolutely guaranteed, and nearly, speaking of that, you and Steph very, very wide. Both of them coming out of Sector 1 and 2 there. Ewan made the mistake. Steph followed him, and Steph's nearly going to follow him into the back of him, coming into the hairpin as well. Chicken, by the way, is on a one-bar connection at this moment in time. He's there in 12th position. Hopefully that'll stay as it is. He's not lagging or anything, which is good at least. The Mercedes chasing down, of course, the Haas of Carlsbury in front, but Tom leading the way. Jensen second, Rudy in third. Towards the end of lap 3 here, of course. DRS, of course, is actually enabled onto lap 4 around here because there's only one DRS zone. There's only the one down the start-finish straight. Otherwise, you could have a DRS zone all the way up the hill here in towards 130R, and that would be, of course, the second DRS zone if they were to implement that, which I think they might, maybe in real life when we come here, of course, in 2022. But Tom out on top, Jensen now in second, Rudy in third. Rudy beginning to hassle the back of Jensen slightly. Former IFR drivers, of course, former Shazoo driver, of course, in Jensen. Ewan, in the meantime, is going to get through on Daniel running down the straight. Easy as you like there from Ewan. The SXT man through on the CPI man, and he's through and he's into 8th position. Of course, you can catch the SXT and CPI battle rolling on in EML, of course, where SXT and CPI are performing there. But everything is just quieting down slightly. Steph is on the back of Daniel, but I can't really see much happening.
Yep, Steph on the back of Daniel, but yeah, just kind of holding station there unless something happens. But it feels like it's going to get a little bit, as the laps go on, I think we could say 9th all the way down to 13th. They're going to get a little bit antsy, and I think we're going to see a little bit of a scrappiness happening. But right now in the top 5, they're just kind of holding station. Like, Rudy's getting close to Jensen, but not enough to really make anything happen. Same thing with Noah, same thing with MedTC, and Darren Smith is just barely on the back of MedTC. So they're all just kind of holding station.
Steph.
Just kind of, Steph, something with Steph there. He's making a move on Daniel. I think I may have heard your message there was going to be calm. Well, he's not going to make it calm anymore, but he's not going to get enough toe on the inside, and Daniel going to hold station, at least for now, and Steph going to have inside to rework it here, and he's going to get a good toe down the inside liner. Can he outbrake Daniel? He can. He's going to go a little bit too deep, though, but Daniel not going to be able to stick it up the inside there, and Steph going to hold 9th. Can Daniel answer back in the 130R?
Carlsbury, I think, could respond to both of them, though. He's right on the back of Daniel, using that EOS to good effect. He's got 50% of it. He pulls the inside line in towards 130R. I think he'll back off, maybe go for a dive, but into the Casio triangle. As now Daniel closes on the back of Steph. I think they're going to remain as they are, though, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Beautiful move that, though, by Steph. Really good respect by both of them as well. Could have easily ended up in a bit of contact. They didn't. Steph there in 9th. He's going to come under pressure, though, from Daniel, and Carlsbury possibly could get both of them running down the straight as well, because Steph is now really under pressure from Daniel. Daniel pulls alongside into towards the inside line of turn number 1. Steph runs out wide, and Carlsbury gets a little bit of contact there from Daniel, who got caught on the curb, and that's where the contact was made. So Daniel hit the curb there, still in 10th. Carlsbury there in 11th. Carlsbury won't be happy, but if he looks back on that, Daniel caught the curb and pretty much got sent into him off the curb.
Yeah, I was watching Carlsbury there, and if I was from Carlsbury's angle, obviously he's going to have to watch the replay back there, but it just looked like Daniel pumped the brakes, but obviously hit the car. There goes Steph in the wall. Steph going to hit it, and I think he got slight damage there. That's going to allow Daniel to go up to 9th, Carlsbury down to 10th. But again, just a bit of a reward attrition. We saw for the Dunlop corner mistakes that can be made, even though it's a little bit farther back. But yeah, Carlsbury and Daniel and the rest of the field going to catch up, and Steph going to fall back down to 14th here. So now Chicken is hounding the back of Carlsbury. We'll see if Chicken can maybe make something happen relatively soon here, but it looks like Carlsbury gets a better toe, so we're going to have to postpone that battle at least for one lap. But not missing anything up in the top 6. Everything kind of stationed what we reported 2 laps ago. Nothing really new to report.
Yeah, Jensen has gained time, but I think it's only because of the DRS.
And he clips Carlsbury, and he clips Funky Chicken. Sorry to cut you off there, but 3 cars now all wrong way around, all toasted. Ghosting didn't come on, and Daniel ends up taking Carlsbury and Chicken, and that's going to open the door for Chalkers in 9th, and just a bit of a fail of the ghosting system there. Continue on, James.
It's a benefit. I didn't see that on the stream. Goodness knows what happened there. Jensen's on the back of Tom, running down the straight in towards turn number 1, but he's not going to get the move done. He is going to be close enough, but he's not going to be let in for the move. I think the second part of the race is going to be crucial for these guys. Tom, Jensen really running as they are. Noel there in 4th, MedTC in 5th, but Funky Chicken obviously into the pit lane. Carlsbury into the pit, Daniel into the pit lane. Could let Lynx in potentially for 3 free positions. He is going to continue on. Of course, they're all going to replace their front wing as a result of that contact coming out of the spoon curve. And the spoon curve is so difficult because if you get caught and you basically spin the car around, you're coming into traffic, and I think that's exactly what we saw with Carlsbury, Funky Chicken, and Daniel there. Daniel, by the way, going for a set of medium compounded size. Funky Chicken, interestingly, and Carlsbury both going for a set of hard compounded size. Chalkers, by the way, is under pressure from Zoidem, but further down the field, Chalkers was on the back of these guys. All of those 3 capitulated. Lynx is now ahead of 2 of them. He's ahead of Daniel and Carlsbury. But Chalkers, I thought he was going to write a new chapter in terms of possibly getting them done next lap, last lap around. But Zoidem, in the meantime, is right on the back of Chalkers, and the clear out has brought Zoidem back into play.
Yeah, Zoidberg was able to get better off than Lynx there, and he was able to kind of stay back in the clean air, and the destruction of all the drivers allowed Zoidma to get kind of back-towed here, and we're going to see if he's probably going to get a good run, especially with clear air here. I think, well, Chalkas gets a better tow off, so I don't think Zoidman's going to make a move through 130R. No ERS usage for him at the very least here. Do got Noah, though, getting towed back on the Rudy here. We'll see if he makes something down the DRS straight here. But, yeah, Zoidma not going to make a move into the corner. Nope, he's not going to make one in the Casino Triangle. So Chalkers holds on at least for now. Back up to Noah, though. Yeah, not going to make any tow on Rudy. So just kind of, again, holding station. There goes Chalkers in the pit lane. Maybe they try to get an undercut here on Zoidma. And, yeah, Chalkers pitting here will be going farther down the order, but we'll be going on a set of hard tires.
Front wing change as well for Chalkers. I wonder if he got caught in a bit of collision there, obviously with Chicken and the likes who were in front of him. So I wonder if there's a little bit of front wing damage maybe on Chalkers' end, and that's why he was so slow, and that's why Zodoma obviously caught up on the back. So Chalkers is coming out the pit lane miles ahead of Funky Chicken, so obviously that pit stop miles ahead of these guys. Nearly spun it actually coming out the pit lane there. There's a yellow flag out on track, and that's Cosby round through the final corner. I think he's got caught on the bump maybe coming around the final corner, but I think they got rid of that of course in the game. So Cosby I think might have got caught on the outside curb and then spun, and that's why he's down in 16th position for now. It is becoming like a war of attrition out on track, with Tom currently holding the lead of the race. And we saw last week, of course, he was in this position, he spun round Piratella, of course. I hate to remind him that, it's the third time I've said that tonight. But Tom looks to me, he's got more ERS than Jensen, about twice as much at this stage. I think he's in relative good control of this race. I think the move, though, is going to come from MedTC and Noah, because Noah, all of a sudden, has been caught by MedTC. MedTC right on the back. There's another yellow flag. It's Cosby again round through Dunlop Curve into the Dectors. So that is him round through that section on the track. MedTC though was looking on the back of Noah. He's not quite close enough. I think Hyper and Steph potentially could be the next battle. The Haas gets very slow out of the Casio Triangle section on the run down in towards turn number 1. Don't think he's going to be close enough. No, he's way too far back, and Hyper's going to remain in P11 for now. We remain as we are on to lap 8 out of 27, nearly a third of the way through already.
Yep, near a third of the way through already. I think Chomp's happy it's not raining here because that will bring back some painful memories of what happened last week. I do want to say one quick thing while we have a lull in the action. Ivan said a nice little message to Ayrton Senna and kind of a nice little tribute to him. So if you're in the comments, take a look at that and give it a quick read when you can. But
I've got the stream up, but I can't see the comments.
Oh, yeah, it's a long paragraph talking about thank you, Ayrton. I can't read it all right now because we may have a battle. But if you're in the comments, anyone watching, I was more referencing. Take a quick look at that and that's a good piece written by Iron. But anyway, checking the battles here. MedTC and Noah again. I think the pressure. MedTC's Carl's actually retired in the pit lane, not on track, so no trigger for safety car. But MedTC is pushing good pressure on Noah. And I think it's forcing Noah to go a bit faster than he wishes. Chalkers has made a mistake, and Chalkers is off into the gravel. I think that's Dunlop corner. Yes, it is. Yep. And he'll have to get it pulled out, and that's just going to be a bit of a confidence killer for him. We got Daniels in the back of Lynx, and Chicken as well. Big 3-car fight back here for the scraps, they would say. But he's got to fight for him. It's now Dargut's pick. The first that top main runner to the pit here. Going to try to go for the undercut.
Early, but I can sense why he's done this, because 18, 19 laps at a medium compound size can get easily to the end of the race. Dav's going to be coming out of the pit lane. Not only that, he's going to be in clear air. He's got Hyper and Steph going to be battling in front, and speaking of which, Hyper's going to go around the outside in towards turn number 1, sails on by, and the SXT driver passes another SXT driver. As he spins on the curb through the exit of turn number 1, with Hyper there in 9th position, Steph there in 10th. Tom's still leading the way. Lynx, by the way, is on the back of Funky Chicken. Currently for the wooden spoon battle. Chalkers is obviously in the wooden spoon position at the minute, but this is the wooden spoon battle. Daniel perhaps could get a run at both of them. He's using up the ERS to really good effect, and do you know what? I think we're going to see 3 wide maybe. Down in towards turn number 1. Lynx is through, Daniel through, Funky Chicken loses 2 positions, 2 for the price of 1, and Chicken, unfortunately, not going to be getting his KFC tonight. He's down in 14th position now.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, Daniel and Lynx both took a wing off Funky Chicken there.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. Someone's got to make a bad pun here. It's between you and me. Well, we got to make one pun at least one race. We'll see if anyone, though, reactionarily pits here to kind of cover off Dargus Smith. He was about a second back of the pack, so in theory, you wouldn't see it too crazy, but you don't want to wait too long and have the advantage favor Darrigan. So we'll see if anyone decides, maybe forces their hand and decides to pit here. And, we see a big train coming in. All top 4, but MedTC's going to have to stay out because it's all Jensen coming in. So top 4 in, MedTC going to stay out one more lap here. And obviously, pit stops are about the same time, so no major chance of seeing anyone jumping anyone. So they're all going to come out pretty much the same for the most part here. And a few other drivers are going to stay out as well, including MedTC and Ewan staying out. And I think Zoidema as well. So top 3 are going to be MedTC, Ewan, and Zoidema. Hyper as well going to try to sneak up through the field here, and he'll successfully get around along with Steph. And Doggett Smith going to come out pretty much far behind this pack here, so did not gain much time worth noting at the very least. And Fletty came out ahead of Fletty, so take that with a grain of salt. And one more quick thing for Ivan, the paragraph, that was fine. Good to express your message there. Not mad about the paragraph at all. It's good you express yourself. Continue on with the action, James.
Definitely so. Tom, there in 6th position, they've came out in a world of trouble here because Zoidema, I have a feeling he's going to extend his strategy. Hyper and Steph obviously battling. They're going to gain because they're on the fresh tyres. Tom and Jensen, if they do not get these moves done quick, they're going to be in a big amount of trouble because MedTC potentially, and it's only a potential moment at this moment in time, but there is a potential. If Tom gets held up by Steph and Hyper, they'll catch before the end of this lap, I think, into the DRS. So Tom's 1.4 seconds off the minute. I'm on board with them coming through Spoon Curve, and he's 1.2. The gap's still going to come down. It's going to be about maybe a second coming towards 130R. MedTC, though, is in clear air. He is coming into the pit lane, I believe. So MedTC's in.
Yes, he is.
Tom gets held up this lap around. If MedTC went one more lap, I think it might have came into play more from him. But MedTC's gone a lap earlier than what I was thinking of this battle. Tom's not even in the DRS either, compared to Steph and Hyper just ahead. And coming out the final corner, yeah, it's borderline 9/10 per second coming across the DRS detection point. But he hasn't got the DRS detection point because, obviously, it's just before the Casio Triangle. As Darius hits the new fastest lap of the race, he's going to be ahead, potentially ahead of MedTC here. But he actually comes out behind around 2 seconds behind, about a second behind actually, coming out the pit lane. But Tom, now, big crucial moment in the race. MedTC's came up 2 seconds behind. Tom gets held up here. MedTC's on back by the end of the lap. No question about it.
Yep, yeah, that's definitely going to catch back up here. Oh, MedTC around! So MedTC's actually spun it, and a bit of a commentator's curse there. Cold Tires caught him out there in the Senaz, not the Senaz, that's Brazil, this Zukas's, and MedTC going to fall back, and then Noah gets a 3 for multiple warnings, so bit of a double kick moment for the two of them there, and that's going to put a little less pressure on the top 3, and going to put Doggett Smith up to a net P4 at the very least, but yeah, Cold Tires caught MedTC out there pretty badly. And now Tom on the back of Steph here. And remember, Steph's fighting Hyper, so they're both kind of in their own little world here. And we know Jensen can get through traffic a lot faster than Tom can. So Tom's going to have to be the aggressor, or else Jensen will make mincemeat of him. Yeah, Casio Triangle's probably what's going to happen here. Oh, yeah, 130R. Maybe he'll get 2 for 1.
Wow.
130R and Casino Triangle. But, yeah, no, Tom going to get around Steph there for 4th. Going to put a car between him and Jensen. Not going to get enough toe on Hyper, but DRS will be enabled, so he'll probably get around Hyper using DRS. Jensen, though, gets really on the back of Jensen on the back of Steph there, blank there for a second. We got Tom going to make a move on Hyper. Jensen's fast left, then here comes Rudy. Tom going to go up the inside of Hyper. Jensen staying behind right now. Steph should probably be a little more aggressive because that's going to be 2 cars between them. Tom goes too deep. He's gone too deep. Going to open the door for Hyper, but Tom going to get just the better traction, and Tom going to hold station. Chalkers has crashed. That could be a safety car because on circuit, and it is.
Oh, and it is.
Take a deep breath. That ruined kind of a good battle there because,
Rudy was going to go around the outside of Jensen as well, coming through the S section in that pass. It was pretty much half a car alongside, and he was going to go for the move, and then the safety car came out. But halfway through, the safety car is now out on track. Chalkers is around that is coming through Spoon Curve on the exit, so clearly he's hit the outside curb, spun the car around into the left-hand side wall, and that is now him out of the race. But this saves Ewan out in front. Ewan is going to potentially be ahead of Dara or Fleddy here. One of those two. Ewan's going to be in the battle for the lead on much fresher tyres compared to the front guys. Hyper and Steph, maybe not necessarily so. They're going to be maybe behind MedTC, I would think, coming out of this the safety car period. But Ewan there out on top. Tom there in second. Hyper in third. We're under the safety car. But what do they do now? If Hyper and Steph decide to stay out, Jensen's in a whole world of trouble because he's got 2 cars basically to try and pass underneath the safety car restart. But I have a feeling they'll come in I would think, set a soft compounded size, I think they can make it to the end.
Yeah, they got a pit here because this is a free pit stop. There's no sense of them staying out here. It's not like they've already made a pit stop. E1 obviously in, and I'm going to definitely make a guess Hyper and Steph probably going to follow him off the cliff here. We'll see if anyone else maybe jumps in. Tom faints, but he's not going to come in. Yeah, Hyper and Steph in, Jensen staying out. So, yep, all the medium runners coming in right now to switch off for a set of softs, while E1's on a set of softs. We'll see where he slates out here. Going to come behind Noah. Keep an eye on Dargan Smith as well. He's going to come clearly behind Ewan. Fletty is well going to get by, so he's going to fall to a net P7. The Alfa Romeo driver, Hyper 8th. Metzisi is actually going to come out behind him, so that spin has actually cost Metzisi at least one spot. Hyper and Steph 9th and 10th, and they're actually going to... Zoidema, I think, is going to get around both of them. Yes, he will. So Zoidema 9th, Hyper 10th, Steph 11th, and that is how it's going to shake up under the Aston Martin safety car here. But Tom... it felt like it was such like a balloon getting the air left out of it because it was going to be such a great battle there. And no offense, Chalkers, mistakes happen, but just a bit of a kick in the stomach there. That's all you could say.
Worst possible timing, I think, is what we can probably say. Obviously, Chalkers made his own mistake, was nowhere near anybody at the time, so Chalkers made his own mistake. Deploys the safety car. Safety car, of course, has obviously changed in terms of the deployment since the start of the game. And, of course, we're coming into F1 2022 as well, and I believe it is only, 2 months away today. I think that the game is going to be released, of course, F1 22. Tom the one on top, Jensen second, Rudy in third. They're all in the safety car here. We are halfway through the race in Japan. Let's analyse, though, what has happened in the first half of the race, because obviously Tom, Jensen, Rudy, Noah remained as they are, basically off the pit stops. The position gains underneath the safety car. In fact, the top 5 have remained as they are. Fleddy has gained a position. Ewan has obviously been helped by the safety car. He's now in 7th from 14th on the grid, so potentially a drive for the day performance coming for him in terms of the in-game fans at least. But everyone further down the field have either lost positions, Hyper and Steph being the exception rather than the rule, they've gained. But if your Lynx lost 4 positions off the start, you finished obviously 3rd last week. Another podium, obviously, he's picked up 3 podiums, I think, in 4 races the time before this. In 13th position, he's not looking that good unless another safety car is going to come out, unless everything kicks off in front of him.
You never know. It could just lit a fire on this pack here, and they're going to get very antsy. Jensen obviously doesn't have to be the aggressor, like I said in the pre-race, because he just needs to finish by Tom every race by 1 position. He'll be fine. He'll win the championship. But Rudy and Noah, on the other hand, they're fighting for victories and their own pride here. So they're not going to let Jensen just kind of coast. So Jensen's going to have to be a bit aggressive. And if you if you aggressiate a bear and the bear gets kind of poked enough times, the bear may attack. So Jensen may be a bit of a sleeping giant here and something to keep an eye out for. And whether he goes crazy or makes everything work, it's still yet to be seen. But I do agree with you at Lynx, he's going to need a lot of help, a lot of chaos to get up for the field here. Fletty trying to keep the fort down for McLaren. Ewan, though, could be something to keep an eye on. Currently P6 on a fresh set of softs. They're going to fall off near the end of the run, but he could be a little bit of a threat on Dargan Smith, Noah, and Rudy, but he's going to need to keep that tire wear consistent because he's not making another pit stop till the end.
Chalkers, by the way, saying in the Discord, knew I'd struggle today anyway. It's going to be a tough few weeks for me until we hit Monza, which of course is in, 3 weeks' time, I think, from here on
America. We got the North American swing, excluding Italy. It's weird. It's United States, Mexico, Italy, Brazil. It's like, why is Mazda in the middle of that? It just feels like it should be Mazda next and then the Americans, but a bit of an odd call because it feels like that'd be a logistical nightmare in real life.
Blame it on one man and on one man only, Chalkers. Kermit, don't blame it on me. I was just the league director. He decides the calendar and everything, so blame it on him for putting Monza in.
He's the league director. I'm the messenger. Don't shoot us.
Exactly. He's there in the chat, so he's about to say something. Tom, by the way, leads the way. Jensen in second, Rudy in third. The safety car is going to probably be coming in this lap around. What does that do, though, to the front runners? You would imagine they're going to continue on that battle before the safety car actually unfolded. Ewan, though, in 6th position, he's in a really, really eye-catching spot. Obviously, they're in 6th. He's gained 7 positions off the start from 13th on the grid. He's there to attack Dara and Noah. If Ewan's got the pace on those tyres, I think he'd get past at least Dara and Noah. Top 3, though, may just be in a different class if the safety car is going to be coming in this lap. So Tom now leads under the safety car. He's now the virtual Burton Marlander. He's now the virtual safety car, and he's going to try and break this pace up. I would think he'll go on the exit of the final corner. Kermit, by the way, saying he was told to change it by the league directors as well. Nice apportionment blame. We'll take equal blame, I think, on that one. Tom, though, leading the way underneath the safety car restart, and I think already into the Casa Triangle, he's going to say go. Jensen's going to try and pull alongside, though. A little bit like an Assetto Corsa sort of start this, to be honest, between them both. But Tom now says go on the exit of the final corner. He gains 3 tenths of a second, and Noah and Dower around, coming out the final corner. It's Noah around through the final corner. He's obviously got caught on the bump, maybe down towards turn number 1, but Tom leads the way. Jensen second, Rudy in third in towards turn number 1. Ewan is getting position on Dower, so Dower, I think, had to take avoidant action there on Noah. Noah obviously in the wall. He's got front wing damage as well on the car, but Ewan's up to 4th. He's getting 2 free positions. Exactly what I said. With everything unfolding in front of him, Ewan has just gained 2 positions, and I feel like an absolute curse.
Yeah, now he's got soft tires, so he's going to be on the attack there. I was watching the back there. Noah he had it safe, then he didn't have it safe. Then he had it safe, then he didn't have it safe. And just kind of spun it all over there. And it seems like the curse of Noah continues here. After one strong performance in Imola, the rest of it's just been kind of a big bag of meh. So, sadly, the curse will continue here. Bit of a lockup there. Medsium runs the back of Fletty, but getting a little bit antsy in the top 3 right now. They're kind of holding station, but with A1 on those fresh tires, he could be putting pressure on that top 3 to do things they probably don't want to do. So, bit of a chaos, but we got Steph on the back of Zoidema as well. Could be making a lunge sooner rather than later, but we'll see through 130R if anyone decides to make something happen.
Rudy's on the back of Jensen, using up that ERS, using up a lot of deployment actually on this lap, on the run up towards 130R, but Jensen maybe be thinking of attacking Tom. Of course, the DRS is actually not enabled for another 2 more laps after this, so we're only going to get the DRS on lap 18. Steph is on the back of Zordon. He absolutely sends it down the inside line of the Casa Triangle. Got to that late, but he sends it down the inside line, got the move done. Rudy's on the back of Jensen, they're running down the same. Jensen's now going to try and think about going for Tom for the race lead as well, but I think the top 3 are going to stay as they are in towards turn number 1. Spall Sports, I think they are further up the field. Zoidema, though, on the outside line, tries to get the move on Steph, doesn't get the move done, so Steph is through and he's into 8th. Zoidema there in 9th, Hyper there in 10th. Steph, by the way, got the outside move in towards the Casio, in towards the Spoon Curve as well, on Hyper that lap. So Steph obviously through and he's into 8th. Zoidema there in 9th, Hyper there in 10th. Really good racing by all. Ewan's all over the back of Rudy, who's just made a mistake, I think, coming through Dunlop Curve. Or was it Jensen? I think it was Jensen who made the mistake, actually.
Jensen backs them up. Yeah, Jensen made a mistake, and it caused Rudy to kind of get caught in effect, and that caused Ewan to catch up. So, yeah, Jensen made just a slight mistake, and that caused a bit of a Constantine effect. And now Ewan's back in the skate. Doug Smith all caught up. Hyper made a mistake. Oh, he's on the inside.
No, down the inside. Zoidema. Lovely move.
Yeah.
Forced him out wide slightly.
There.
Yeah, forced him out wide slightly there, to be honest. A little bit of tap on the rear end, but Hyper through and he's into 9th. Nice move that, and now Lynx is going to try and get the slingshot off in towards Spoon Curve. Doesn't get the move done on the back of Zordon, but this race is building up very nicely, heating up in the Japanese sun. Tom leading the way from Jensen second, Rudy there in third. The top 3 are covered by 7/10 of a second. Ewan is getting right on the back of this as well. Medzi C in the meantime is right on the back of Fleddy, and he's going to think about going for a move into the Casio Triangle, and Ewan thinks about going for the move as well on Jensen, and he doesn't get the move done, and Ewan is round. He thought about going for the move. I think it was too late on the brakes there. Matey C though gets this move done on Fleddy, opens up a whole can of worms in behind, because here comes Steph, potentially for the run on Matey C as well, in towards turn number 1. It's side by side. He has to use the side draft now to try and get this run in towards turn number 1. He's on the inside line. Steph should have the move done, and he does get the move done. Nice driving there by Steph. He's through and he's into 6th. But what happened to Ewan there? I saw that from all the way back in Matey C's perspective into Casio Triangle. He's gone off again as Ewan into the wall. And he's not out the session. No, no, he is out the session. Oh, he's retired out on track. Retired.
He retired on track. That is going to be a penalty. That's a penalty. Send him to the booth. 2 minutes for retiring on track.
Sinbin.
But yeah, that's a bit of a just. I could see what happened. He just made a mistake. Was a little too impatient, and then too deep, and then it just gone bad the worst. So bit of a shame there that happened.
Oh, Hyper! What a move this is going to be again! A bit rough and tumble on the back of Fleddy. He has to let him through, surely. That was a bit forceful.
He just door slammed him.
Hyper's through and he's into
Door
7th.
slammed him.
Fleddy might get the run on him, though. Might get on the run on them. Stewards might have a look into that, though. Fleddy might be unhappy with that. I'm certainly unhappy with that. I think Hyper has to give that position up, but saying that, Fleddy's got the run now on Hyper, because Hyper there in 7th, Fleddy there in 8th, and maybe that was a sign, that little wiggle of saying sorry there from Hyper. I think we might take that, of course, out on track. But Tom leads the way. Jensen 2nd, Rudy in 3rd. Absolutely kicked off this lap around. DRS is now going to be enabled, of course, here. And obviously, Rudy's going to have the run on Jensen. Jensen's going to have the run on Tom. And I think more immediately, Steph's going to have the run on ATC.
Yeah, because a move down here in the land of the rising sun, under the Japanese sun, is we're going to see Steph going to have the inside.
Oh, he's on the curb!
He's squirreling off on the curb. He's drifted it.
Oh.
He's drifted it. Oh, you needed some Euro beat there, and that would have been a perfect Togu run for initial D. That was beautiful. That's an anime moment if I've ever seen one. Steph in 5th, Metsi's down to 6th. I'd probably put that for overtake of the year, even though it wasn't 100% fully controlled.
Yeah, he sort of forced MedTC offline there, to be honest, as well. But give him the benefit of the doubt. That was brilliant from Steph to keep even control of the car. He got too much curb on the move. Ivan, by the way, is saying it was a Kobayashi type of move from Hyper. Totally agree on that. Kobayashi sort of moved from Steph as well on MedTC there. They are all championing the Japanese driver out on track as well. Of course, can't forget Takuma Sato and Kazuki Nakajima as well. Tom leads the way, Jensen 2nd, Rudy in 3rd, Dara in 4th, the front 4 pulling away. Dara potentially in the prime spot if everything kicks off in front of him. Steph, though, has now dropped off the pace slightly, but those set of softs are going to still come into play until around 8 laps into that stint. So he's got another 4 laps to basically get in, but he's used up too much ERS, and Matey C is probably going to think about going for the move in towards turn 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. They're using too much ERS. You can see by the blinking light. But even Metsi doesn't have much ERS either. They're both deadlining. So it's going to be just straight line to straight line. And that soft tire is going to be a little bit stronger as Metsi gets a snap there. And that's going to allow Hyper to kind of take advantage here. Going to get a good toe down here. Don't hit the pit boards. That would be a bit of a mistake. And here comes Hyper. Going to try to take it on the outside. Steph going to kind of block him off, though. He's going to have to try to hang it. Keep the throttle. Steph going to go inside. But not going to be enough for Hyper to hang it. So Metsi is in a bit of a sandwich between the two soft runners. And he's just going to have to kind of patiently hang behind here because he has the tire advantage on the other two in about 3 laps. But he's just going to have to kind of save his stuff and save his resources, or else he may get attacked in more ways than one. Rudy, though, on the back of Jensen, though, but not going to make a pass happen. But definitely just keeping an eye on that we may see a move going into the hairpin.
Problem is, though, with Steph. Steph is obviously making mistakes as well out on track, but he's using up too much ERS. Saw him coming out of Dunlop Curve using up ERS. You don't really use up ERS coming out of Dunlop Curve. And Steph also coming out of the Deckners. More privileged, to be honest, I think, to move it out of the Deckners. But even on the run down towards Spring Curve, he's just wasting away that battery, wasting away that ERS. He's just using it at little points of the circuit, and it's just latching him back on to the slipstream train in front of him. But Steph there, 2 seconds off. He's lost 0.6 of a second compared to the guys, and it's all because of D-rating, basically down the straight. Rudy, by the way, with 43% of ERS on the back of Jensen, about 13% more at this stage. But Rudy looks as if he's on the back. Yeah, Matey C on the back of Steph as well, but I don't think that's going to get close enough. Tom leading the way, Jensen 2nd, Rudy in 3rd, and yeah, Tom, you're right with his ERS because he's got 70% of ERS. Rudy, though, this time around, perhaps going to think about going for the move on Jensen, and in fact, nothing is going to happen in towards turn 1 again, and we'll remain as we are. But Matey C is going to get the move done on Steph down the inside line. Beautiful move by Matey C. The Finn is through and he's into 5th, but look at how much time they've lost. They've lost another 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, it's a top 4 breakaway there. I think Metsi could have. I think they were thinking Steph may have been the lead car there. He made an aggressive pass that cost him a second, and then Metsi had to wait another lap there. Now the tire fall off. Metsi's going to have to try to ring him back in, but 2.5 seconds is very hard to catch at the very least, especially with the top 4 all on a bit of a slipstream chain here, and especially with no battery as well. Definitely going to be a bit of a harder thing to make up. So with him as well, though. But yeah. Not a good day for McLaren at the office, as right now they're going to get outpassed in the Constructors by even a wider gap and make any chance of winning the Constructors even a bit harder at the end of today, bearing if everything holds.
Matey C, though, I'd like to have him on my side at this stage, because Matey C is a quick driver. It all depends on how Rudy, I thought, was going to go on the back of Red Jensen and towards Spring Curve there. Got very close, about 0.8 of a second that was. I thought they were side by side, but they're not. And Rudy now is going to go, maybe, on the back of Jensen in towards Casio Triangle. There's a yellow flag. There's no around again through the S's, and he's just reset the track, so I saw that on the mini-map on the right-hand side. Steph, though, is going to potentially go for a move on Matey C. The top 3 are going to remain as they are. car. Steph pulls the inside line into Castle Triangle, fakes the move. Zoidema also fakes the move on the back of Fleddy, and the remain as they are for now. But back to the battle for the lead. Tom leads the way. Now getting absolutely hounded by Jensen. This is going to be the move, I think, for the race lead. Jensen on the back of Tom. Rudy's going to be alongside. He's going to go for both of them. Down the inside line and towards turn number 2 now. Rudy on the inside line. Jensen on the outside line. And now they're going to be side by side. But a hand of rage there from Rudy. But he gets round the outside of turn number 3. Beautiful stuff. A brilliant driving between them both. Rudy through and he's into second. Jensen into third. That's what you call racing around here.
I love it that the AI Rudy had the hand up while he was still driving. I think Jensen kind of sensed like, I'm not ready to die yet. So he just kind of consistently just backed down like, all right, I'll fight another day here. While that was happening, Steph made a move on MedTC, put Steph back up to 5th, MedTC down to 6th. And that also allowed Dargan Smith, who was just out of DRS range, to now get back in DRS range. So it's going to maybe give Dargan Smith another life here. Count one off. He's used one of his 9 lives. How many more does he have left in the tank? And if they do start getting scrappy, it could open the door for the Aston Martin driver to maybe, just maybe, have a run at this. But yes, it's top 4. Basically, the winner is probably going to come from the top 4 unless a safety car gets called here. We do got Lynx high in the back of Zoidema, something else to keep an eye on. Yeah, Lynx all over the back of Zoidema. Zoidema doing a good job, I've got to say, 9th position. Lynx there in 10th. Has obviously been caught up in an early incident, obviously down there in 10th position as well, so the McLaren is really struggling here tonight. His expectation was not many points, to be honest, and it currently looks like he's going to be not on for many points. Hyperbob is going to run the outside into the Casio Triangle on MedTC. Thought about the move. That was cheeky from Hyper if he thought about going around the outside of there. But now he's going to get a phenomenal run on the run down towards turn 1. MedTC just about has the DRS, and now Hyper is going to try and pull alongside. The side draft and the ERS both running out for both drivers, and Hyper's going to think about going around the outside. MedTC turns in from slightly. MedTC, as Hyper tries to go all the way around the outside of turn number 2. MedTC, I think, will hold the position here. Hyper on the inside line now, through turn 3, through turn 4. MedTC still side by side with them, through turn 5, through turn 6. And MedTC just about comes out on top. Still stays 6th, and they've lost a second to Steph with Lynx all over the back of Zoidema, right in the background of the shot. Yeah, Hyper probably should have backed it down there so they could keep close to Steph there. That gave Steph a little bit of a breathing room here. They'll get back within DRS range, but yeah, Hyper should have probably just knew, all right, I'm not getting this pass done, tuck back in line, and live to fight another day, because now they're going to have to play a little bit of catch-up with Steph, but Hyper, Metsi just got back to Steph quickly there, so yeah, not much of a change there at the very least, but it does allow the rest of the train to get a little bit closer behind them as well, so just kind of putting a red stake in it with a pack of Alliance, and now they're going to get a little bit more scrappy behind, and when they get scrappy, bad things can happen sometimes. But, yeah, not missing anything up front. Top 4 all pretty much holding station for the most part. Yellow flag sector 1, that's Noah Jones around again. He's really struggling. He's just kind of stopped, and he resets the track again. So, yeah, Noah, you got to stop doing that, man. That's going to get you rung up for more penalty points than you probably want. Yeah, frustrating. I can totally understand, because I'd probably do the same in the same situation, but no, rules are rules, I'm afraid. Simple as that. Tom leads the way, Rudy in second. 5 laps to go here in Japan. Maybe a late safety car to throw out and put the spanner in the works. Maybe, just maybe. My tempting fate, possibly in the land of the rising sun. Have to wait and see, though. But Tom leads the way. Rudy second, Jensen third. Front 2 have now pulled away from Jensen. Jensen seems the one like he's struggling. Davil there in fourth has stayed in contact with the front 3. And, of course, if the front 3 get battling, one of them makes a mistake. And speaking of mistakes, there's a crash coming through. Daniel and Funky Chicken. Daniel. Funky Chicken? How on earth has he kept that out the wall? That is unbelievable. Funky Chicken has kept that out the wall. Tokyo drifted it through the gravel. That is pretty much... I can't think of where I saw it. It was sometime this season. I think Daniel's going to try and let him through, is he? I'm not sure. Daniel there... Chicken's kind of let him go, and then Daniel went wide there in the kitty litter, and that caused Chicken to catch back up. So he was just kind of... He was going away, and then he made a mistake.
Chicken was so far off wide into the gravel, though. I can't... Oh, who was it? I think it was... Was it Sebastian Vettel in real life? There was a moment in real life, correct me in the comments section, but I'm sure it was Sebastian Vettel. I don't know what Grand Prix it was, but he did exactly the same thing, or some Formula 1 driver did exactly the same thing, kept it out the gravel, basically Tokyo drifted it through the gravel, and not picked up any damage. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, very incredible indeed. I can recall the number 2, but I can't remember the driver as well, so... But
was it Hamilton Hockenheim? Hamilton Hockenheim comes to my mind?
Hit the wall. Hamilton hit the wall. He had damage, and then that was the long 40-second pit stop. So it wasn't that. Was it Leclerc? Nah, it wasn't Leclerc.
It was...
That's weird. Someone will say something in the comments. But anyway, we still got a battle here between Steph, Metzi, and Hyper. They're fighting, again, pretty hard there. The Alpha X Sector 1, I think that's Chicken. He crashed. No, it's Noah, sorry. Noah spinning around there. That's going to trigger. He was going for the fast slap hunt there.
Oh my god. Well, oh my god.
That put a bit of a... Oh, something happened.
Metzi's not going to go side by side into Steph here, but Hyper's on the outside line into Degner 2! Oh, this is unbelievable. He gets the move done. How on earth he got that move done? I do not believe it. Hyper is through, he's into 6. The XXT working to perfection there. Metzi's just going to launch one down the inside line. How on earth he got that move done is absolutely beyond me. Hyper through, he's into 6. And now, going to be side by side further back in this train because Zoidema and Lynx are now getting on with things. And Zoidema's going to have the run at Fleddy all of a sudden in towards Spoon Curve. How Hyper has just gone around the outside of BTC through Degner 2 and there was barely any contact in that, I do not know. That was incredible.
That was tasty. That was a beautiful overtake there. Like, straight up, that was impressive to watch. We got Fleddy and Zoidema again with Lynx hitting a good toe. Zoidema going to try to hang around 130R, going to go into the Castillo Triangle. Oh, going to get a little bit of shot from his teammate. So Lynx almost helped Zoidema get around his teammate there. Little indirect contact to help out. But we're going to have Lynx fighting in the back here. We got top 3 fighting as well. Steph going to get a good, Hyper going to get a good toe on Steph. He's going to make the pass smooth like butter. Further in the back, we see McLaren and Zoidema fighting. Zoidema going to make the pass on the McLaren. So Zoidema at the 8th, Steph up down to 6th with Hyper going up to 5th. And they're 7 seconds behind, so unless Chaos breaks up, this is as high as the train will go. But 5th is still a good stranglehold of points.
I told you it was Hamilton. It was Imola. Imola 2020. He went into the wall then, but he kept it out the gravel on one occasion as well in Imola. I was just researching that on YouTube, but it was Hamilton, Imola. That's what was in my mind. So there we are. Apologies to Vettel on that. But Tom leads the way. Rudy in 2nd, Jensen 3rd, Dara there in 4th. The top 4 remain as they are. Just look at how much time the top 4 have pulled away, though, to Hyper. All of these have been battling, basically. Hyper all the way down to Lynx have all been battling. And they've lost 7 seconds from the safety car, from the safety car period. It's unbelievable. It's unheard of.
Yeah, it is. It's 100% unheard of indeed. It just shows they were battling too hard, and that just allowed the top 4 to kind of tip away because we saw that mistake with Ewan, and that kind of caused a little bit of a train. And then it just slow mistake, but mistake after mistake, just kind of caused that gap to grow bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it just shows that sometimes you got to be consistent, and if the lead car in the pack is kind of messing around, or you're fighting the lead car too much, you end up losing toe. But with 2 laps to go here, right now, Tom's best friend is Rudy, and he also probably wants to have Dargan Smith maybe lunge on the back of Jensen here, because the more points he falls back, the best he'll be in right now. Because right now, if everything holds, obviously Rudy's hanging the back of Tom there. Easier said than done. We'll have to count this check in a minute. Lynx gets around Fleddy. I think it was a bit of a let-go there. But to finish my point, is right now, Tom's going to get 10 points on Jensen, and that's going to bring the gap down, I think, to 23, if I'm not mistaken. So he needs, right now, Rudy to be ahead of Jensen, and maybe Dargan Smith to make a move with Jensen for Tom to get really back in the championship fight. Yellow flag, Sector 1. Daniel around, and he's going to still be 11th. I think Chicken is obviously about a half a straight behind, so, yeah. Daniel, as long as he brings it home with P11, Chicken goes to fast lap pump. He'll take it away from Noah. And we may also have a little bit of a fight near the end here between Chicken and Noah for fast lap of the race.
Tom, though, was saved up so much ERS in front. Rudy's now beginning to hunt him down. There's another yellow flag. That's Noah Jones once again round coming through the Deckers. Tom, though, leads the way. Rudy in 2nd. Rudy has held back so much more ERS. Tom has held back so much more ERS. Rudy made a mistake coming out of Spoon Curve there, and now losing him out of the slipstream range. So Rudy has to try and use up more battery to get onto the back. Tom Mule uses battery, wants to get him out of slipstream range. That, I think, is the deciding moment because it's the final lap of the race. I can't see the top 3 changing, to be honest, unless there's a spin from one of them. Tom around the final corner, on the run to the line, with 1 more lap to go, will take the lead onto the final lap. He leads from Rudy by 7/10 of a second. Rudy with the DRS, not even going to get close in towards turn number 1. It's going to be 5/10 in towards turn number 1. Rudy has to force Tom into a mistake now. Both of them, though, have looked imperious tonight. Tom especially so. Absolutely dominant out in front. Further down the field, LTC's on the back of Steph, but he's not going to think about going for the move in towards turn number 1 on the back of the Dutchman. But Tom leads the way. Rudy in 2nd, Jensen 3rd. Front 2, and I think, to be honest, front 3 are pretty much settled.
Yeah, for the most part there, Jensen's losing touch badly from Rudy here, unless Rudy really pushes the issue on Tom there.
MTC gets into the back
on
of
the
Steph.
inside is Zoidema. Oh, the back Steph. Now Zoidema to get a little bit antsy here. I saw MTC was getting good toe on Steph, but I guess got a little bit impatient there to make something happen. Everyone kind of holding station here in the back. Yeah, Jensen one back on Rudy, and Dargan one back on Jensen. So
MedTC's going to launch one here.
Oh,
MedTC's going to launch one. Oh, look at that, down the inside line. Steps on the outside. Beautiful move by MedTC. Gets that job done. Daniel, by the way, I think has just reset the track, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe.
On the right-hand side on the mini-map. I just saw a little bit of a flicker there from the Alfa Romeo. I'm not sure if he recovered the car at the gravel. Steph and MedTC, by the way, still going side by side, coming in towards the spoon curve. That's going to be a battle. They're going to have to focus on the leader because Tom, coming around the final couple of corners with the purple middle sector, could potentially try and steal the fastest lap from Funky Chicken. Round the final corner, Tom, on the run to the line here in Japan, will take the race win from Rudy in second. Jensen will finish in third.
God.
There's contact further down the field. There's full wide nearly into the Castle Triangle. MedTC, Steph, Zoidberg, and Lynx all falling over each other. This is going to be a drag race to the line between them both. MedTC's going to be safe, but Lynx is going to potentially get Zoidberg to the line. He doesn't. And Hyper had penalties as well involved in that as well. So Hyper there down into ninth. What a finish between those guys.
Just scrapping near the end. You had Zoidberg around the outside of 130 yard. He was getting blocked off by Steph, and I was just like, oh, they were touching wheels. I'm like, oh no, someone's going around, and they just kept it straight. I was like, oh, we need to get a camera on this because this may be bad, but they kept it clean. So hats off to the boys in the back. That's clean racing while keeping the fenders clean. But yeah, Steph gets 6th, Zoidberg 7th, Metzi actually gets 5th. And yeah, penalties play out there, and that's going to help Metzi, and that's definitely going to help Red Bull Constructors. But Tom needed that comeback race here. He gets it, and he'll gain at least 10 points on Jensen and bring the gap a little bit closer.
Yeah, definitely does. And that was a imperious drive, to be honest, from Tom. That is the drive he should have done last week in Imola. Steph gets awarded drive of the day by the in-game fans. I think it has to go to Tom, though, because that drive was imperious out in front. Obviously, quite worrying towards the back end, because Rudy was right on the back of him, then made a mistake. If that mistake didn't happen on the penultimate lap of the race, Rudy potentially could have got him down in towards turn number 1. That cost him, coming out of Spoon Curve. Tom picks up the win, though, here out on track. The Shazoo man beats the former IFR man, beats the former IFR man, and the former Shazoo man, of course, Tom out on top, Rudy there in second, and Jensen there in third. And I think that top 3 just comes to show how, I think, dominant, to be honest, the top 3 have been so far this season and in that race. Of course, if you got the top 3 at home, well done to you. I didn't actually make a prediction tonight, and I was going to go Tom, Rudy, and Jensen as well. Oh, terrible. Tom wins that from Rudy in second. Jensen there in third. Dara in fourth. Drove very well. Don't know what happened to him on the final lap, actually, because he was right on the back of Jensen. Oh, and he had that's why. 3-second penalty. That's why he's finished in fourth so far behind. MedTC there in fifth. Steph there in sixth. Zoidberg there in seventh. Lynx in eighth. Hyper there in ninth. Freddy ran off the top 10. Then Funky Chicken in 11th. Did pick up the fastest lap of the race by 0.3 per second compared to Rudy and Tom's fastest laps. Daniel there in 12th. Noah did finish under his own accord there in 13th, with many reset tracks, though. I think he might be getting a knock on the door to the steward's office. Ewan, Chalkers, and Carlsbury, the 3 DNFs out on track, and we can go straight into the interviews, of course, because the top 3 have joined us, and of course we can speak to the man who finished in P1, and that is Shazoo Tom. And Tom, retribution for last week in Imola. Talk us through it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it somewhat makes up for Imola, but that still won't, that won't just go away that I crashed out. But anyway, yeah, it was a very nice race. I led every lap that I wasn't behind someone who hadn't pit yet, and yet, not more to say.
It seemed like a pretty easy job out on track. Obviously, talk us through the final couple of laps, though, because Rudy was hassling you right on the back. He made a mistake, I think, coming out of Spoon Curve the penultimate lap of the race. If he didn't make that mistake, do you think he might have got you actually down towards turn 1?
Well, I wasn't sure how much ERS he had, but I had like a full battery, so it probably would have been difficult for him to overtake. But I know Rudy, he's not scared of an overtake. He probably would go for it anyway. And he was quite fast in a straight line. I don't know if that was set-up or I was making it up, but he was rapping in a straight line, so I probably would have went into turn 1, or if not into the last chicane at the very end. But yeah, he made that mistake, and it should put me like 8 or 9 times clear. So it took off a lot of the pressure.
Yeah, I think coming into Spoon Curve, I think you had about 20% more EOS than Rudy coming out of Spoon Curve. So obviously you had more battery than him. deploy that to really good effect, obviously, took the race win here, and obviously you gain the gap back to, I think it's 24 points, Pepsi, if I'm not mistaken.
I will confirm that for you if you give me 1 second here. It was 10 points, not fast lap. Of course, the score takes second open. It was 185 to 151, 61, 71, 81. That was 30, 32, 33, 34, 30, 34 points, if I'm not mistaken, so it's down to 24 points now instead.
So 24 points going into the final couple of races of the season.
4 rounds.
With 4 rounds to go, how do you feel going into those final 4 rounds of the season? Is that championship still possibly within grasp? Because obviously Jensen had a relatively poor day at the office. I know he finished in third, but it's a relatively poor day in the office. You gained more points on him. Is that now a focus still possibly for that championship?
Well, yeah, obviously that's pretty much the only focus, because I've got nothing else really to focus on other than Lynx is quite close, but he didn't have a... I don't know if he finished today, but I think
he did finish, but he finished way down the order. I think 10th,
so
I want to say.
I'll be ahead of him. So yeah, the focus on Jensen, but I can't lie, with this point system, it's a bit dodgy. Like, for getting a win, you don't gain as much as you would in real life. You like, unless obviously the DNF, like one DNF cost me 30 points, but like, if I beat Jensen and he comes second or third, I'm only gaining like 5 or 10 points, even if he comes. So yeah, if maybe I don't think I'll, unless I like win all the last 3 rounds, which is quite unlikely. It's gonna be difficult.
The thing is, I just did the math in my head, because it's 4 rounds and a sprint qualifying as well in there. So if you do beat Jensen and win all 4 rounds, and Jensen finishes second, if my math is correct, you would beat him. Or I think it would be tiebreaker siege or a slight victory. So it is still feasibly possible. They just got to be better than Jensen. I know, easier said than done, but there is a road forward.
Yeah, just looking at that sprint race as well, yeah. There's a possibility, but I think I'll still need some luck. Obviously, you always need luck, but it's going to be difficult, but I'll try my best.
Yeah, going to be very difficult, of course, out on track. Of course, next week we go to the United States, into Pepsi's backyard. How do you think you're going to get on around there? Because I think, to be honest, America is one of those tracks where I feel you might be suited by. Well,
yeah, USA's probably the fastest track I have on quali pace, but I can't, like, I always pick up penalties. I've done like 2 league races there in the past few weeks, and I've had 6 seconds both times, so yeah, it's going to be difficult. I know Jensen, I don't think he's too fond of USA, but I'm not sure about Rudy. But yeah, it's probably my favourite track for quali. Had some good results.
Don't want to let the cat escape the bag, basically, in terms of the strategy and everything going into next week, because you definitely, I think, have good pace around there. Have to wait and see, of course, what happens next week. Go and enjoy your evening, though, Tom.
Yeah. Thank you, James. Thanks.
Very welcome indeed. And we'll now move on, of course, to the man who finished in P2, and that was Rudy. And Rudy, obviously, on the other end of the penultimate lap of the race. Talk us through that penultimate lap, because I was convinced if you didn't make that mistake, you would have got him down in towards turn 1.
Yeah, it was a costly mistake. It was just understeer kicking, really. It wasn't, it was just very unexpected. I think I would have got him as well, and yeah, like Tom said, I probably would have gone for it anyway, so yeah, I think I had a good shot at it, but just the understeer kicked in, and yeah, just a bit of an experience maybe at the moment at this track, because yeah, I felt like throughout the race I was following Jensen all the time. I felt like I had pretty good pace, but yeah, that mistake at the end was very costly, but still P2 again, like Jensen, Tom, of course, very fast drivers, so to have similar, if not better pace than them is of course always good, so yeah, only positives really.
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously, looking ahead for the rest of the season as well, you are, I think, still in third position. You obviously were level... No, you weren't level on points with Lynx coming into tonight. You were just behind Lynx in terms of points. Lynx obviously had a bad day at the office. We'll have to do the calculations about that. But focusing on the final 4 rounds of the season, how do you think you're going to get on, obviously, in those final 4 rounds? Because we heard from Tom there, he thinks his qualifying pace is good around America. Is your qualifying pace good around America? And, more crucially, is your race pace good around there?
Well, qualifying pace, I would say it's decent. In terms of race pace, I'd say it's pretty good as well. But normally, I don't really take penalties anywhere, so that's a plus. If I get a penalty tomorrow in PSG, I'll cry. But yeah, I jinxed it maybe. But yeah, I think that's definitely a plus. Yeah, I'm always normally very clean with the track limit, so that's going to be a plus. I think I'll have a good race there probably, and yeah, I don't know what other rounds there are, but yeah, just championship is looking unlikely, but maybe I can pull something special out of the bag. I still want to get a win, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I probably should have won today, but I made a mistake, so yeah, my own fault obviously, but yeah, I think I'll have a good end to the season.
I do want to say, doing quick math, sorry to cut you off, I just want to say quick math there. He should still be behind Lynx because with Lynx's points, if my math is correct, he should still just be behind him. Not by much, but it's still Lynx in third. Bearing penalties, obviously.
Not too bad at all. I was going to come across to you, actually, Pepsi. Any questions?
You kind of asked my Coda question. I don't really got much. Yeah, I got nothing else really to add.
Two questions then from me, Rudy, to finish off. Obviously, America coming next week. How do you think you're going to get on around there? And obviously, America tomorrow in PSGL. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
Yeah, I'll start with tomorrow, I guess. Yeah, I've done quite a bit of practice, so yeah, championship hopes are looking good. I had good pace last week as well, but yeah, strategy was just a bit of a weird one. I made a mistake as well there, but yeah, I think pace should be good like always in PCL really. So yeah, I'm fully focused on the win, and yeah, if nothing weird would have happened, I would have had 4 in a row last week. So yeah, pace is looking good, and I think I'll have a good race, and yeah, because I'm doing a lot of practice for PSGL, I think next Sunday should be a pretty good one as well, because yeah, I'll have some good experience at the track, so yeah, hopefully both the races go as planned, and maybe I can take a win in both.
Well, if we are speaking the same time tomorrow night, I know that you're going to do well next Sunday, of course, here in TTML, but more immediately, good luck for tomorrow. Hopefully, going to be a really good race, of course, tomorrow night as well. Go and enjoy your evening, Rudy.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for coming.
Very welcome indeed, and we'll now move on to the man who finished in P3. Of course, it is Jensen, and Jensen, another race where I think chances possibly squandered, I think, in this race. Talk us through it, because obviously you three were very even in terms of pace. Just didn't hook up the final couple of laps, but still a P3 finish. You must be happy.
Pretty disappointed, to be honest. It's probably my most disappointing race. I'd say Australia was a bit unlucky, but this was just disappointing. Just lacked the pace all the way through the race. It was only keeping with the DRS really, but yeah, don't think I had the pace at all. And Rudy, like, he was rapid on the straights and rapid in the corners as well. I don't know how much ERS he had, because it seemed like he was using every time, but he probably still had quite a bit when overtaking me, so it was pretty interesting how that was going, but I don't think I would have been able to keep him behind anyways. But I probably picked up the best I could have, given how my pace was going, but yeah, still a bit disappointing. No, I could have done better on that. Don't know if it was set up or not. That probably did that, or avoiding the curbs, because everyone's just absolutely destroying the curbs. I saw like Tom, like so many heart in the mouth moments like through the race. So yeah, I've typically avoided the curbs, but yeah, it's just to be safe. The P3's not too bad, but compare it to everything else, it's not really my cup of tea.
Yeah, as I say, I think chances squandered, I think, here tonight, obviously, in terms of your pace. Talk us through what happened in the final couple of laps, though, because obviously you, Rudy, and Tom were pretty much going nearly 3 wide and towards turn number 1. Looks like you got boxed in, basically, by Rudy going the inside line there. Were you happy with being boxed in, or were you trying to get a little bit of room, maybe to try and capitalise on a mistake from either of them?
Well, of course, no one would be happy with getting boxed in. Like, I knew he was pushing, but I didn't know where to go, either to go inside or outside. But yeah, I kept to the outside, and Rudy was already alongside me, so I couldn't really make any like move, and it could have probably gone 3 wide anyways if I tried going aside Tom. So just to think the safe side of it. But I tried keeping the position, but yeah, just didn't have the traction nor grip to try and keep like further ahead of Rudy, and he managed to get me there. But yeah, nothing more to say about that. I think you and dive like me and Rudy, which ended his race, I think, which was a scare. The only probably scary moment of the race, but yeah, nothing more to say about it other than that.
Yeah, obviously, still P3 finish though. I think is obviously very solid for you going forward for the rest of the season. Pepsi, any questions?
I guess I'll take your question you've asked past two, and I'll make it my own here. With Coda coming up, and that being a race in the calendar with only 4 rounds to go, how do you feel about Coda and your chances around Coda and qualifying in the race?
Like I said, I don't like the USA track, to be honest. I think it would be another sort of Japan one, but I think the last 3 races are definitely ones that I think I'll do well at, given our practice, of course, for that. But yeah, I mean, PSGL tomorrow will be the first like indicator of where I am at Coda, but yeah.
Well, look on the bright side. If you don't like Coda, next year's game, you'll get Miami added to another American race, and in 2 years' time, another year time, you'll get also Las Vegas. So pick your poison in 2 years' game's time. But
I mean, it's not
James,
necessarily it's not necessarily the United States tracks. It's just
I know it's the flow of it, but at least you get different variations.
Mainly sector 3 of Coda. I know I'm giving away my hand already, but yeah, I don't really care. Sector 3 is my terrible part of Coda, so I need to fix that.
Fair enough. James, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, nothing else from me at this moment in time. Jensen, go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you, and cheers for the commentary as always.
You are very welcome indeed, and that ends us off very nicely indeed. Big thank you, of course, to Tom, to Rudy, and to Jensen for the interviews. Much appreciated, as always. That ends us off very nicely, of course, here for TTML F1 tonight. More action to come, of course, through the week on the Twitch channel. No EML, of course, this week coming up, and that means, of course, the potential decider could go down to the final race, of course, between TTG and IFR. Of course, IFR, I think I've competed in that last event, though, so it might be that TTG may pick up that in terms of the EML, but of course that's coming up near towards the end of the month. More action to come, of course, on Thursday though. TTML F2 and F3 going to be covered, of course, on, well, one of them on Twitch, my one on Twitch, of course, for F2. F3, of course, are going to be covered on YouTube, and that's going to be myself and Storm taking you to the action for F2. F3, of course, it is myself, I don't know why I was going to say myself, because I was going to do 2 commentaries at the price of 1. Goodness me. Mike, of course, and Cadwell take you through the action. Of course, James Boyle, that is, of course. And at 4, of course, it is going to be Pariah and Buck taking you through the action. And because I'm free on a Friday, you might see me hopping into the commentary box if either of them are not free on Friday. So that'll be pretty good as well. And of course, TTML F1 with only 4 rounds to go. At the end of the season, we're getting closer to crowning our champion. Is it going to be Jensen? Is it going to be Tom? Or is it going to be somebody else potentially that comes out and wins the final 4 races? We have to wait out, of course, and see what is going to happen here in TTML F1. Pepsi, though, I'm going to leave the final words to you. Who on earth is your driver of the day?
Well, first of all, I want to say Hyper also in chat there saying thanks for the comms. Well, good to see you enjoyed the comms, well, even though he was driving. But driver of the day? It's not that hard to pick one. I got to go Tom on this one. He was dominant from lights to flag. He was pretty strong. I feel like it would be a disservice to go without him on this one.
Yeah, definitely. So I think Tom, honestly, definitely were worthy of driver of the day. Even though I thought all three of them at the front end of the field very even in terms of pace and quite imperious, to be honest, as well in terms of their performances. So Tom, for me, gets driver of the day as well, and that rounds us off very neatly indeed. Of course, if you did like this, of course you can like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell. Of course, if you're new on League Racing TV on YouTube, and also if you are here on Twitch, you can also follow us, subscribe, and of course you can subscribe 20% off, of course, with Amazon Prime. So if you do have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to the channel and you get 20% off while doing that as well. That rounds off very nicely. I think I'm going to go for a lie down now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.